you look at just fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks, is the best there is so far this season.
And when you get down to it, you're right. I think it's surprising that at the beginning of the year, this matchup, this is probably a week where you think, well, I probably won't play Aaron Rodgers against the Washington defense. They got 4 first-round draft picks. They're going to be a really tough run. That's all changed here week 6 into the season.
It's like they lost Fitz and they lost all their juju.
They really did. And I don't know if they were reading the press clippings too much, or if you go back and look at their schedule last year, guys, it was kind of like preying on the vulnerable in terms of quarterbacks. It wasn't a bunch of all-stars. It was a bunch of guys that maybe were put over their head as starters or rookies, things like that. So that may have contributed to why we view them a certain way, but they've been disappointing so far. Let's talk about players that have been better than that. Let's talk optimism here. Let's talk about running backs. And I look at Mckissick for the Washington football team in that same game. It's pretty useful. As we're having this conversation, unclear whether Antonio Gibson will be available on Sunday against the Packers. And Mckissick has been really good for Washington out of the backfield as a pass catcher, which matters a ton in standard scoring. We get 1 point for every reception. Never drops pass. If you look at players that have been a bright spot for Washington offensively, there aren't many of them. Mckissick is one of them. And Packers favored by 9 points in this game. If they're up big, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be J.D. Mckissick who's going to be catching the ball out of the backfield. And then another running back that's been hot recently is Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has been amazing in back-to-back games. He looked great on Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens. He looked great this past weekend against the Houston Texans. If I'm Indy, one way that I'm taking care of business on the road in San Francisco against the team that's coming off the bye is getting the football by the best offensive player right now. And that's Jonathan Taylor. He's priced heavily at $8,800, but I think there's a chance to return investment this week with the way that he has been playing.
Yeah, Taylor's the one guy that if I look down the Bills' schedule, that's the next time I'm worried in the form of like a Derrick Henry type. Taylor's probably the next guy on the Bills running back list coming up on the schedule. All right, receivers now. Let's just rip through all 3 of these. I was curious about one of your choices because he made a comment to Tennessee media late last week that said he's not going to get a full workload of snaps until week 10. But yet you still have A.J. Brown in your lineup. Just explain to us why.
Yeah, so A.J. Brown's trending in the right direction. $7,000 is the salary this week, and the matchup is just so good. I mean, yeah, you guys saw that Kansas City secondary just 2 Sunday nights ago, right? The Bills did literally whatever they wanted to them. It was embarrassing, really. Good at Kansas City. Yeah, the Thunder play, and that wasn't enough time for Kansas City to get back on its feet. The Bills just carved them up, and I think Tennessee is capable of doing that as well. You know, the Titans have not been prolific through the air this year, as both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones have dealt with injuries. Against Kansas City, if they play like they did offensively, and I'm talking about the Chiefs here, this past week in the second half against Washington again, and I think the Titans are going to have to keep up. And Brown was pretty solid on Monday night. A lot of them came in the second half. As a matter of fact, I think one of his targets came in the second half against the Bills. I think there's a chance that A.J. Brown, who, despite the fact that, as you noted, Chris, is not going to play his 100% of his snaps until much later.